still early in the 2022 season, but talk has already turned to contracts, team changes, and who will stay and who will go in this wacky world of F1's silly season. This week, we're looking at those who could possibly be hanging up their helmets by the end of the year, whether that's by choice or circumstance. Rumours already abound regarding Seb Vettel stepping down for Mick Schumacher, Danny Ric getting the boot from McLaren, and even Lewis stepping away. But what do we make of it all? Welcome back, Formula One fans, to another video. While you're here, help us out by hitting the like and subscribe buttons, and ring the notification bell to be updated when we post new content. We'd love to make it easy for you to support us in creating these videos, so we've added a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below, and there's also YouTube's new Super Likes. If you enjoy what we do and want to help us with making more videos, please check it out. So the elephant in the room is poor old Danny Ric. As I record this, I'm wearing my McLaren number 3 hoodie with fear that it's going to be out of date before too long. Looking back, his decision to leave Red Bull may not have been the smartest one he ever made, but at the time we couldn't really blame him. He didn't want to settle for being second driver to the rising star of Max Verstappen, and he had his doubts, as did we all, over the reliability of the Honda engine, so he called it quits with the Red Bulls at the end of the 2018 season. Renault wasn't a great switch, being a car that was midfield at best, so the quick move to McLaren when Sainz left seemed a good idea, at least until we actually saw Danny in the car. This is a great all-round driver who is one of the last of the late breakers, a phenomenal overtaker with a pragmatic head on his shoulders, and he was driving like a rookie while Lando Norris kicked his butt all season. The argument was that he had to take time to get used to the car, which was set up and handled very differently to what he'd been used to, but we're partway through his second year in the papaya and he doesn't seem to be getting any better. His win in Monza was, I hate to say it, a fluke. A wonderful fluke, but still a fluke. And his inability to start truly competing with his teammate or any of the rest of the upper midfield has been nothing short of depressing. The rumour mill is rumbling that despite being contracted through the end of 2023, he will be out of McLaren at the end of the year, if not sooner. Zak Brown has hinted that contracts can be broken early, which does not bode well for our favourite Aussie. Will they boot him out before the end of the season? I'm very scared the answer may be yes, though I'm hoping they'll at least see out the year. The question is if he'll take this as his time to step down from F1 or if he'll try and find a seat elsewhere. But it won't be at one of the top teams, and I think it'll be a slow decline from there. Potential replacements include Colton Herta and Pato O'Ward, the team's IndyCar youngsters, or if McLaren doesn't fancy a rookie, could Pierre Gasly take the seat? Many feel he's not been treated particularly well by Red Bull and AlphaTauri, and I wouldn't mind seeing him given a fresh start in a new team, though how he'd settle for being second driver to Lando would be interesting. The other clear favourite for retirement at the end of the season is jack of all trades Sebastian Vettel, who has been winning my heart by stealth since leaving Ferrari. The Aston Martin is clearly not up to winning races at the moment, but Seb doesn't seem too gutted about this, happy to enjoy driving on track and broadening his skills off track. He's taken a real political and ethical turn, championing the need to address climate change, the environment and recycling, and is becoming a voice people really resonate with. After his recent stint on Question Time, could we see Seb stepping away from F1 to focus on a role in politics or activism? I mean, I'd vote for him. And rumour is that if he were to step away from Aston Martin, he'd be replaced by fellow German Mick Schumacher, assuming his own recent performance hasn't put Stroll off. Seb has been advocating for Mick and defending him from his detractors for a while. It wouldn't surprise me if he negotiated an agreement for Mick to move into his seat if he were to step down. All this said, Daddy Stroll sounds convinced Seb won't be leaving Aston Martin just yet, but team principals have been wrong before. As much as I love seeing Seb on track, I don't think now would be a bad time if he were to leave the sport. I'd miss him and his rainbow t-shirts and his outspoken attitude, but it wouldn't feel entirely wrong. Fernando Alonso is another possibility to say goodbye. The guy's already retired once. With Kimi's retirement last year, Nando is now the oldest driver on track, which sounds mad for a man only just past 40, and he is out of contract with Alpine at the end of the year. That said, the Alpine has proven itself to be a competitive midfield car the past year and a bit, and Nando has been part of that. He's put in some fantastic drives, and his defensive driving has really been fun to watch, knowing that Lewis and the other drivers dread seeing the rear of that Alpine in front of them. Nando has made it clear he's having fun, and I actually would be surprised to see him retire at the end of the year, as long as Alpine renews his contract. I don't see any reason for them not to, but there's always young rookies chomping at the bit to get into an F1 seat, so it's not outside the realms of possibility that he could be dropped for fresh blood. And what about Lewis Hamilton? He's still in contract with Mercedes until the end of 2023, so not an obvious option in that regard, but there were rumours before this season started that he'd be stepping down after the contentious end of the final race in Abu Dhabi. He obviously did not, and we're still not sure how close he may or may not have come to making that call between seasons. But this year has been a tough one for him. The Mercedes is not competing to win this year so far. They have messed up somewhere in the design process for these new 2022 cars, and it is taking time for them to find the fixes, and for the drivers to get the hang of things. That said, George Russell has steadily outperformed Lewis in every race so far this year. He's used to getting the best out of poorly performing cars, sorry Williams. But Lewis has had the luxury of being in the best car on the grid for most of his recent career, and he's not adjusting well to this new world order. It could be that if he doesn't see improvements in the car and how it works for him, he could call it time to walk away after all. I firmly believe it would be his decision and no one else's. No way would Toto get rid of Lewis voluntarily, and I think Lewis with a point to prove is a fearful thing, but it's definitely something we have to consider. There's quite a few others out of contract at the end of the year. Pierre Gasly isn't likely to be leaving the sport anytime soon, having shown he can be a force to be reckoned with in the right car. Yuki Tsunoda is on a bit less steady ground, but has been showing improvement this year, and I don't think he'll get the boot unless there's a really appealing rookie waiting in the Red Bull young driver wings. Guan Yu Zhou only had a 1-year contract, but he's done nothing wrong and has had some strong moments, so again, Alfa Romeo would need a strong contender ready and waiting to get rid of him. Far more at risk is Nicky Latifi, who has gained an unfortunate reputation for ruining other people's races with his tendency to bring out red flags. I feel for the guy, but at this point we wouldn't be sad to see him go. He wasn't competitive with George in previous years in the Williams, and while a bit more even in footing, he's not really competitive with Alex Albon either. He does bring considerable sponsorship to one of the teams who most needs it on the grid, but I'm not sure that'll be enough to save him for much longer. Alex, meanwhile, is also out of contract with Williams at the end of the year, but he's shown ability and is proving he deserves to be back on the grid. I hope he won't be going anywhere. Last on the list is Mick Schumacher, who we discussed in our last video. He is out of contract at the end of the year and has messed up more times than is ideal while driving for Haas, but he's a fan favourite and has the backing of Seb Vettel as a potential future star. He's a Ferrari young driver and we know there's skill there. As long as he keeps the car on the track for the rest of the season, he should still be in F1 next year, whether it's in a Haas, Aston Martin or elsewhere. There's a lot happening this silly season with a lot of seats still to be confirmed for 2023. If I were a betting woman, which I'm not, I'd be putting money on seeing Danny Rick, Nicky Latifi and possibly Seb Vettel is most likely to be gone by year's end. But who knows what will happen between now and Abu Dhabi. K-Mag's return proved that anything is possible in this sport and making predictions is a risky business. What do you think, Formula 1 fans? Let us know in the comments below and remember to like and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching!